After the hour-long video from earlier today, I thought it would be a balance to come back and do a little mini teaching about the auric field. And there's a reason that I want to do it. It's not that we owe anyone explanations out here, collective, whoever you are, but most of us, or a lot of us, are in places, situations, places with where the majority, I'm not saying everybody, so please hold on to your panties and draws, where the majority of folks aren't in the know about that, and they don't know, not being in the know about it, they don't believe in it. To actually actively see somebody participate in a form of aura clearing is foreign. It looks, depending on how it's being done, but to an eye not trained and an eye that don't know anything about it, and again, this is not meant to be insulting, it's simply the reality, then it looks like somebody who's a nut. And if that's what the target, if the target, the individual, if that's what the powers behind things are trying to fashion, then this is kind of why they really try to insert the target, if they can, in a covert way. They try to insert them in lands and places where people don't know anything about it. Okay, so if you can get them coerced and cornered into a place where that's not something that is recognized, not something that is seen, it's not something that is practiced, then to get the target on camera outside, in nature or a park or a beach, or just standing in front of where they're dwelling, to get them on camera under the guise of, I don't know what they're doing. Are they on drugs? They're moving their hand through their over their head, and so we're gonna get into some shares here. So just bear with me. I'm gonna pull up some screens because the screens are important. So bear with me here. Bear with me. Did I get that? Oh. I apologize for, I was mini screenshot to bring up some clips and to kind of get into describing what this is. Okay, you all can find this very same information. Okay, so this ain't nothing deep and special. So you're looking at is what's known as the invisible bodies around our physical body. Science is barely starting to acknowledge or catch up with the fact that there's an energy field, and these fields are affected by various things, including internal and external influence. Okay, internal and external influences. And if the biofield has been compromised, okay, so there's upkeep just like our physical body. Okay, hold on one second. And if a target is placed in an area where this is not common, then their behavior looks erratic. Their behavior looks chaotic. It doesn't make sense. Okay, so let me to another screen because I do want to share if it lets me. Or Okay, a gentle energy healing or a sweet energy healing, unique design to cleanse and balance or debris from an individual's electric magnetic field known as the aura, using the hands to sweep. Hear that? Using the hands to sweep the hands. I want to highlight that so badly. Using the hands a few inches over the body, usually from toe, to clear negative or unharmonious energy so that the person can feel lighter and blah blah blah. Aspects of aura sweeping. Okay, sweeping motion slightly above your body. Okay, so once again, a part of this whole trying to manufacture a story and a narrative that makes the target look like they're nutso is by putting them in environments where those things, these practices aren't acknowledged, known about, or supported. In a lot of cases, there's going to be people that say, well, the target could just do this stuff indoors in their private space. Well, yes and no, they can. They can under normal circumstances. But if, like I said, if they've been, let's say they're in a restrained or confined space and they're looking for air, nature, a little bit more spaciousness, then maybe they can't. Also, let's say that whatever their current environment is, they cannot utilize the full practice. So, it's known that most hotel, motel, Holiday Inns, and a lot of places, except for specialty places, they don't allow for, stuff like smudging, incense, candles, which is also a part of why they try to corner the collective in these situations. But there's a way around it. We'll talk about that. Now, but, so getting the target outdoors, which is beautiful because of the nature, we're not really meant to be cubicalized, if that's the word. We're not meant to be squelched in little, sardine jars. Okay. So with that being said, seeing the target outside, it's like, oh my God, it's like, look at them, so they'll have whoever the folks are that they've managed to hire, the informants, the stalkers, the surveillors. And again, if these stalkers and surveillors, they think the person's nuts if they don't have a point of reference. Do you see that? They're like, okay, maybe they're nuts. This is a homeless shelter. Maybe they're crazy. Well, I want to share this for the world to help. Because we never knew, don't mean it ain't. This is something I even swallow. I swallow that. Just because I don't know that, don't mean it ain't so. The assumption, presumptions, what does assume? Assume makes an ass. An ass. Assumptions. This is a human flaw. It is a human flaw. Assumptions. It's like, okay, well, what is that? What are they doing? We just talked about it. It's actually a thing. Ain't got nothing to do with somebody being crazy. Ain't got nothing to do with somebody being on drugs. Ain't got nothing to do with somebody being imbalanced. In fact, people who are practicing that are creating balance for themselves due to the imbalances that they're forced to deal with. So often it's really people essentially regulating their own energy field due to what they know that they're dealing with. People doing root work, people surrounding, following around like the hunchback of Notre Dame every day. To do weird things. So they're clearing because even thoughts are energy. Oh my God, even people's obsessions, people who are not necessarily doing, brewing with a witch's brew, and people who are not necessarily doing that, they're obsessive words, they're obsessive, that's concentrated energy. So when there's a lot of hatred surrounding somebody, even if it's unspoken, because hatred is not always physically spoken or physically manifest. So they don't want a lot of folks to know about this stuff. They don't want the people who are still in the dark about the stuff to not be in the dark about it. In fact, they want the folks that are in the dark about this stuff to be cowardly and scary and scared to expand their knowledge. This is why are targeted and attacked severely. This is why the powers that be, exploit every power and system they can to do it. Because they don't want other folks that are still in the dark and that they benefit off of keeping them in the dark, knowing that maybe you're not sick, maybe it's energetic, maybe it's not you, maybe the thoughts and energy is not your own, maybe it's the environment, maybe it's the heaviness of an environment, maybe it's someone else's energy altogether, maybe it is, things that are projected, maybe this is not you just stressed out because of your life circumstance, maybe this is the things that you've accumulated and that's been sent your way. Maybe it is external. Maybe your energy field is compromised, which makes you feel similar to when you get a wound or a scar or a cut or, something like that. That area becomes tender. That area becomes susceptible and everything feels amplified when there's a wound. So likewise, when there is a wound to the electromagnetic field, then the experience is the same. And when folks aren't in the know about it, they just think that they're depressed. They just think that they're sad. They just think that it's just life and just this and just that. And sometimes it's just like if we don't take a bath for a long time or a shower for a very, 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 very long time, at some point there's going to be some kind of a manifestation, whether it is a rash on the skin, bumps, sores, scars, discoloration. The person may even start to get sick. At some point there's going to be a stench. If we don't bathe for a certain amount of time, then there's going to be a natural something, and it doesn't mean that we're bad. It just means that our body hasn't been cleaned for a period of time, and as a result it developed a rash, some sores, some bumps, or a stench, which as a byproduct then may affect your mood, as a byproduct may affect your everything else, and blah blah blah, domino effect, blah blah blah, domino effect. Aspects of aura sweeping. So somebody's going to see this video someday and see that it's a thing, and they're going to see that the person waves their hands so this ain't a psychotic picking at birds. Oh, I already know what they're trying to do, what they're trying to imply. This is the psychotic birds. They're picking at birds. Some of these motherfuckers need psychotic, need that straight jacket on. I don't care if they rolling a rose, or they need that straight jacket on, terrorizing people, stalking motherfuckers, acting like pretty little liars and stuff. But they pretty ugly liars from A and shit. Weird ass. They're the ones who need the straight jacket. And they're the ones that need to be on a watch list. Because they need to be watched what happens when you give power to egomaniacs. You put power in the wrong hands, You get tyranny. You get people who become callous, lacking empathy, and objectify and demonize people and feel like they can do whatever they wish to do with such folks. They are the ones who need to be placed on a watch list. And they're the ones who need to be placed on a MK Ultra too. Yeah. They the ones that need to be probed and texted and subjected to that shit to get the evil out their ass. Get that narc out of them. Get that tyrant, that abuse culture about them. Anywho, I'm not one that pushes. See, here's the thing though. Here's the beauty. When you come to realize that people are people, okay, and it's ignorant, gullible, arrogant for us to think we know. And we're all on a different journey. And this typecasting people based on stereotypical bullshit and based on some lies and some manufactured stories and provocation and reactive abuse and all that stuff is ignorance, and it's lazy and it's dangerous and it's ill-advised. We shouldn't have to say it. You know, prayer is something that's widely accepted. If somebody was out praying, they would, you know, different people and different practices is widely accepted. So it's like if you're going to call one crazy, you're going to have to call them all. That's the thing. If you're going to try to that someone is not right in the mind, then you're going to have to basically imply your whole system isn't there. Based on beliefs, you know, religion, spirituality, and those types of things. Even as I'm talking to you all, oh, and by the way, let me add another factor. So nature can work like disposable crystals. Does that make sense? You know how you can get certain crystals used to clear energy or strengthen energy? Well, nature, fruit, herbs. I may do another video on that. So for example, limes, lemons, eggs. If you look into that, these are tools that are often used for energy clearing. Okay, and you can dispose of it when done. So it's not something that you wash. It's gonna pull all the density, which is the malignant energy that's thrown your way. All the parasitic, hate, energy manipulation, intrusions, projections, all of that stuff. So when you carry these things or hold them or even utilize them, I think I need to pull up something on limes, because limes are said to help clear the auric field as well. And sometimes you have to work with what you have to work with, especially when they're trying to restrict, absorb that. Okay, so again, you can use nature, fruits, certain things. Okay, lemons and limes are notorious and they're inexpensive. Lemons, limes, salt, um, and you dispose of them. Eggs, and there's certain things, intention, but the properties, the metaphysical properties. Like I can see this lime has turned dark really fast, and that's because like I gauged it from when I first got it, when I first used it. So that's because it's working really hard. There's a lot of real active, a lot of activity charged my way. So I can see why it just went swoop, like it just turned real quick, because it's taking in the black goo. It's taking in all the yucky hatred, hostility, aggression, um, death, ill wishes. It's absorbing. It's taking some hits for me. It's taking some of the hit. Okay. Again, as I'm working to try to work with my biofield, because the biofield, after a while, is kind of the equivalent of like if a burn victim, a 3rd-degree burn, everything hurts and they're susceptible to all sorts of things because of that. This is why they like to terrorize people, so that they can compromise people's biofields. This is why they're willing to terrorize a disabled person, because they're trying to get rid of them. Or they're trying to get them taken. They're trying to get them put in institutions where they can do even further grotesque things to them.
All right.
And that's the end of this session. Listen, I encourage folks, you can go back to your obsessions, okay? I'm not here to tell folks what they need to be believing. I'm here to provoke thought. We can give ourselves permission for 10 minutes to put all of our sacred cows, and then we can go back to whatever it is we hold near and dear. But at least you gave yourself an opportunity to look into something, to see the validity for yourself, instead of just taking shit handed to you from everybody else, including me.